$75, $200, $275, $300, $350. All right, start the bidding at $100. Going once, twice, sold.
Yes! Yes!
$2,400.
Hey everybody, Mr. Riedl here. Today I am going to explain to you how I do my classroom economy in my 5th grade classroom. So basically, if you haven't heard of a classroom economy before, what a classroom economy is when students get paid monetarily with pretend money for the job that they do in class. Basically, they get paid and then they can use that money in order to purchase things at a classroom store or an auction or whatever. In my class, we use an auction. So that's really brief explanation of what a classroom economy is. In this video, I'm going to explain to you all the details of how I run my classroom economy. But let's talk about the purpose of why I do it first. Ever since I started teaching math a long time ago, I have always wanted to do a classroom economy because of the fact that it's real-world math, and being able to use money and teach money and explain how you purchase things and how you can learn from those experiences of earning money and using it. It's about as real-world as you can get. Not only is it applicable to real-world life and real-world math, but it also teaches a lot of good teamwork skills. In my classroom, we have teams for classroom jobs. There are very few students who actually just work by themselves for their classroom job. Most of them work as a team. So the teamwork and cooperation and collaboration is a huge piece to how I run my classroom economy. But not only that, it's also problem solving. Throughout the year, as we do the classroom economy, we run into a lot of issues and problems that just happens when you work together. So problem solving skills is huge for that. Those are some of the main reasons that I wanted to get into it, doing it with my students in the first place. But also what I learned is, as I did it the first year, it's a huge classroom management piece. Like, I really figured out how to use it in a way so that the students would do a good job with their classroom jobs and do a good job with their assignments and stuff like that. I'll get into the details later. But it was a huge classroom management piece in order to give them positive rewards for things that they've been doing good, and also consequences for things that they're not doing well. So the classroom management piece was really huge, and I'll explain more as we go along. And last but not least, it's fun. I have so much fun doing the classroom economy with my students. I have fun being able to connect them with that in real life. I have fun with them when we do auctions. I have fun with them when we do Payday and online fine payments and stuff like that. So all these details I'm going to get into, and I'm not going to go into very much depth with it, but I'm going to explain as much as I can, and then if you have questions, you can write questions in the comments below, and I can answer any questions that you may have if I left anything out. Okay? So let's get started. Alright, so as you can tell, this is the main classroom jobs wall, and this is where most of the action happens. What I did with these are just name cards for whether or not the student is here today. So at the end of the day, they flip them and they're all red. And when they come in at the beginning of the day, they flip them, and anyone who is absent has a red card still up. So that is just for making sure that everyone is here today, or if anybody's absent, then I mark that in the attendance. That is just mixed with the fact that they're organized by teams with their classroom jobs. So I have a biology team. They do mostly like feeding the classroom pet and watering the classroom plants. The banker team basically keeps banking records for the other students in the class. They have to go on to Riedl Bank and manage salaries and bonuses and stuff like that, transactions. The delivery team basically delivers anything that I need. They have an inbox where I put stuff in and they know where to deliver stuff to. The fine officer manages violations of the Riedl rules. The Riedl rules are my rules for how I run my classroom. So any violations of that, they hand out tickets to the students who are fined for breaking the rules. And the leadership team, basically the leadership team leads the class whenever we need leading. They help manage the classroom meeting every Friday, and they also help out with the auctions. The library team is the one who manages my classroom library over here. I've got a lot of books over here that need to be put back and organized, so they're the ones who manage that. The supply team is the one who manages classroom supplies and materials and passes out papers and stuff like that. The sanitation team is the one who deals with the trash cans and recycle bins and takes the duster and dusts around surfaces to make sure everything is clean. The photography team, we have a classroom tablet and a classroom camera that they get to use for the photography team. They try to take pictures throughout the week of students learning and students having fun. Try to get a nice balance between fun and learning, or both if they're happening at the same time. And then they post pictures on Instagram. So here's my social media wall. We have a Instagram account and a Twitter account, and the photographers manage the Instagram account, and so the photography team, they take pictures and then I approve which ones that they have taken, and then they post it on our actual classroom Instagram account. And these ones over here, those are the ones that I thought were nicest that I wanted to print out so that we could have something nice to look at in the classroom. And the tweet team, very similarly to the photography team, what they do is they manage the Twitter account for our classroom. At the end of every day, what we do is I have a worksheet where it has little boxes, Monday through Friday. And at the end of each day, I have an educational hashtag or sometimes a fun hashtag about something that they learned today or about something that happened at school. And so they have to write about it. They have to write a tweet with their pencil. And then we share those tweets at the end of the day. And I approve the ones that I want to be put on the classroom Twitter account. Because it's public, I want to make sure that I approve it, that the kids know what goes public versus what stays private. So that's how I manage my classroom. These are the jobs that I have for my kids. But really, if you're a teacher and you're trying to figure out what classroom jobs to do, there's lots of other teachers online who I've gotten ideas from for what they do in their classroom for their classroom jobs. There's lots of different ideas out there. But these are the ones that I do that work well for my classroom management system in my classroom. And this has evolved over the years. Like, this is not how it was on day one. I used to do classroom jobs where they would switch jobs every week. But I've found that it's better with the classroom economy because when they have the same job for the entire year, they get to be masters at that job, and they get to have a sense of ownership over that job, and they take it more seriously because they're earning a salary for it. Okay, so what I just did with you, I just explained all the jobs. That's what I do the first week of school. At the beginning of the school year, I explain all the classroom jobs. I get the kids excited about it. I tell them the pros and cons of each job. And so the kids are already in their mind thinking about what jobs they want. What I do is I give them a week. I do all the jobs. I get them excited. I tell them, man, I'm tired of feeding the fish today. I hope you guys really want to start feeding the fish. I hope you guys want the biology team job. And some of them are like, yeah, I want to feed the fish. So they get excited about that. And not only that, they get excited about the salaries too. So let me show you the sheet that I show the students. Okay, so this is the sheet that I show that I hand out to the kids. So the students get this job listings sheet, and it has all the different jobs listed in my classroom. As I go through them, I explain what they do, or what they're supposed to do for each job, if they get hired for that job. And I tell them how many job openings there are, because it depends on the number of students each year, how many job openings there are based on how many students are in the class. So I tell them how many job openings there are, and they also have a salary. So obviously, most of the kids want the salary that's highest. The banker team, the fine officer, those are some of the highest paying. However, the highest paying jobs usually require letters of recommendation. See, for example, the banker team requires a letter of recommendation. So what I do is I have them get a letter of recommendation from a former teacher or someone who isn't family, and to kind of vouch for them. And there's that additional expectation that I have for them to go above and beyond in order for them to earn the highest paying job. Also, the photography team, a lot of students want the photography team, so it says requires portfolio of best work. So what I do is I show the students. There's a student one year who brought in a letter of recommendation and portfolio of their best work for their photographs. And so she brought it in, and it was hard to say no because she printed it and they looked so nice, and they were all great examples of photography. It had a letter of recommendation and everything. So That was a great example. I show the students that at the beginning of the year, what it looks like to have a good letter of recommendation and a portfolio of best work. So I give my students a week to get letters of recommendation and get an idea of what jobs that they want. And on the back of this form is the job application form. So they write their name, their job choice number 1, and why would you like to have this job? They have to answer that in complete sentences. And job choice number 2, job choice number 3, and why. And I got this form from My Classroom Economy, and I just took that from the website. It's a free resource from that website. I'll link that in the description below. And I made this myself because it depends on my classroom and my jobs, what I have available. But My Classroom Economy has lots of great resources in addition to just this. They have lots of stuff that I use. They submit their job application forms, which are due at the end of the second week, and then that weekend I go through and I figure out who gets which job. And I'll just show you some of them from this year. Here's an example. Noah, his job choice number 1 was sanitation team. Why would you like to have this job? I love to keep everything clean. I also love vacuuming. We have a little vacuum cleaner in our classroom that we use. Job choice number 2, library team. I love to keep things organized. I also love to help people, and I love to read. These are some examples of students submitting their job application forms. So what I do is I go through all these and I check their letters of recommendation, and based on the amount of effort that they put into it, and based on the amount of work and thought behind it, and based on what I know about them as a student, I choose the jobs for them. The way that I do it is I get my class list of my students and I write down what their requested jobs were, and based on that, I fill in the jobs that are not requested highly. So for example, the sanitation team, not very many students wanted to be on the sanitation team, so I gave that to Noah first because Noah wanted to be on the sanitation team. So I try to give those with the jobs that are not wanted very much, I give those first. So I take care of those first, and then as I narrow it down, I start to get into the more high demand jobs that are wanted, like the banker team, the photography team, the biology team, and the fine officer. So I look through the letters of recommendation and I try to sort them, and I've done this for 2 years now, and it's worked out quite nicely the way that I fit all the students into their positions. I can understand how it could be complicated if it's not spread out. Sometimes I adjust the salaries to kind of convince some students in order to go for a different job than another job. It's kind of like a puzzle, you have to figure out where everybody fits, and then you assign their jobs, and then the next week after that you tell them. I do job training during recesses that third week, and so that third week I do the job training, and so I meet with the biology team and I go through all the details of their duties and everything that they need to do with the fish tank and with the plants and everything that they need to do. So job training usually takes about a week during recesses, just a few kids a day, and throughout that week the kids are trained. And then once they have worked a month, then I start giving them salaries. Okay, what I want to explain next is how I do my money. How I manage my money. I do it all digitally. I don't have any paper money. I have it all online. In our classroom, they have Chromebooks that they can use half of the day. I trade Chromebooks with the other 5th grade class at our school, and so what they do is they have access to a computer and they have accounts that I have signed in. I got a recommendation from Thom Gibson, who is another teacher who helped me organize My Classroom Economy. He's a middle school teacher, and he recommended mykidsbank.org. And mykidsbank.org is a great site because it's a free artificial bank for savings education. And what I was able to do is I was able to create an account as a banker and create a name that's unique to my students in my classroom. So I called it Riedl Bank, and they can log in with their username and password, and they can see all the details of their transactions and stuff. So I'm not going to explain the details, but if you go to mykidsbank.org, then you can see details on how to create your own artificial online bank for free and manage your money that way. I think since then, Thom Gibson has actually used a different online banking system. There's pros and cons to each one. Like, I really like mykidsbank.org, but different teachers have different purposes for why they use it and what they prefer. So there's other options out there too. And I'm going to link Thom Gibson's videos and website down below so that you can learn more from him. And also, he just created a Facebook group for people interested in classroom economy and collaborating and sharing resources. I'll link that in the description box below too, so that you can have those resources as well. Something that I've put on my website is a page about my classroom economy. What I do is I have this page, I even made a little logo of a bank and I wrote Riedl Bank on it. And I put this logo on some of my classroom economy documents. This is kind of like a central hub that has stuff written for my students about my classroom economy. And this is how they can sign into Riedl Bank. I just made a little button that goes to a link to the My Kids Bank. I wrote this to my students. I said, "Welcome, students. My desire for our classroom economy is that we would not only have fun earning money and spending money, but that we would also learn how to use pretend money online in a real-life way. As you earn a salary for working at your classroom job, you will need to pay rent on your locker, pay fines if you have to, and also prepare for possible life circumstances recreated in the classroom. Do your very best as we navigate this financial journey together." When I talk about possible life circumstances, I am referring to like taxes, and I thought about the idea of maybe needing an emergency fund for like if there is a disaster, you need, emergency money or something like that. But I decided not to do that the last couple years. And I just started trying to do taxes, but I'm still working on that. Rent on your locker. So this is something that they need to pay on the first day of the month. Rent is auto pay. You can set up auto payments in My Kids Bank, so it'll automatically deduct. And so I teach kids about auto pay and automatic deduction and withdrawal and deposits and stuff. And so it automatically withdraws rent every month for their locker. We have lockers in 5th grade, so that's what I tell them that they are paying rent for. But also what other teachers have done is like paying rent on their desk or something. And also Payday is the last school day of the month. So salary is auto pay, but bonus is paid by the bankers. I'll explain that when I get to the banker job. And students have to pay fines if they have a consequence or something, and that happens every Friday. And then auction day is the Friday before payday. I did it this way because it worked with our calendar and the way that it's set up. I'll tell you about each of these in more detail in a minute. So bonus money opportunities. So this happens on payday. So on payday, they get auto pay for their salary, but the bankers manage the bonus money that they can earn in addition to their salary. So I have all these different options. A lot of these ideas I got from My Classroom Economy, but some of these I came up with on my own. For example, Khan Academy. I use Khan Academy as a supplement in my math curriculum. If for every 100,000 energy points that they earn, they get a Khan Academy bonus and book reviews and stuff like that. So there's all these opportunities for them to earn bonus money each month. And then fines, so if they have a fine, if they do something dishonest, or if they're rude, or if they have a messy notebook box or desk, if they're not doing their job, then they get fines for all these things. Here's the fine officer's station. So there's all these fine tickets here. Officer blank issued a citation for the following violations. They checked the mark for whatever the fine was. There's an offense log for all these different codes for all these different fines. The offense codes are written in the spaces below, and so the officer issues a ticket to them if they get a fine. So those are fines, and that happens every Friday. I call it Fine Day Friday, and that's just part of the routine for every Friday morning. Other opportunities, they get to purchase their locker if they pay $3,000 to buy the deed to their locker. Then they will not need to pay rent after that. So they learn the advantages, the pros and cons of buying and not having to pay rent anymore. The student is only allowed to purchase their locker on auction day. So on auction day is when they spend stuff, and auction day is when they can buy their locker. Give to charity. I got this idea from Thom Gibson, partnering with parents at home to give to charity. I'll just read this. As a parent myself, I'm constantly looking for ways to teach my own children how to be generous and give to others. I encourage the parents of my students to do the same, utilizing our classroom economy to match Riedl Bank money donations with real family money donations to a charity in real life. I thought this was a great idea that Thom did in his class. I'm just starting to get going on this. It's taken me a year or so to figure out how to communicate that to the parents and partner with them. So I sent them an email and explained all the details of how that would work. But it didn't really catch on this year, probably because I'm just starting to roll it out and I'm kind of figuring it out myself too. So this is the Classroom Economy page on my website, and this is something that is really helpful to kind of have a hub for the students to go to. So let me talk about Payday. The way that Payday works is what I do is I put this up on the screen on the projector, and it says it's Payday at Riedl Bank. So these are the instructions for what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get their paycheck and bonus money form from their banker. So something I have on the wall here is all of the bankers and clients. So each of the bankers from the banker team, they each have a small number of clients, and if there's a greater number of students in class, then we would have more bankers so that they wouldn't have more than just a few clients. Each of them have clients, and on Payday, the bankers have the clipboard. So here's an example of a clipboard. This is Banker Caden, and this is his clipboard, and he takes this out on Payday, and I would have already given him a bonus money form. How their clients are getting bonuses for other stuff that they do, like extracurricular activities, Khan Academy points, special compliments, 100% on exams and community service, stuff like that. So they fill out this form on Payday, and the banker also ahead of time fills out this paycheck. I made these myself. So Riedl Bank paycheck, I have the little logo, and I designed it to look just like an actual check. This doesn't really mean anything. It's kind of like, just a symbol of what they got paid digitally online, but it's still fun for them to have paychecks. It's just like an actual pay stub like I get from work for my paychecks, even though it's actually direct deposited. So they give these to all their clients, and Banker Caden has all these instructions for Banker Job. So I made this out, all these instructions for their responsibilities and what they need to do on auction day and payday, and here's an example check for them to know how to fill out a check, and a checklist for all the things that they need to do. So there's a lot of responsibilities for the bankers. So this is, what they have to do. There's also auction records. So during each auction, they have to keep track of who bought what during the auction. So the banker's job is pretty respectable, and that's why they need a letter of recommendation for it. And also the fine officer has to have a letter of recommendation, because when you're handing out tickets to students, it's really important that they're honest about who's getting a ticket and who's breaking, the rules and getting violations and stuff. So they need to be an honest person too. For fines, every Friday, if they get a fine, the fine officer manages that. So the students, every Friday, they get into a routine, and if they go to Riedl Bank, and so they have to pay their fine online, and then the fine officer checks them off to make sure that they paid it. After payday, they get their salary and their bonus, and after their rent has been paid at the first school day of the month, and after their fines have been paid, if they have any, then we have a very fun day, which is auction day, and that is basically the last Friday of the month, but usually the way that I have to arrange it is the last Friday before payday, just because I want to make sure that these are all done in order. Sometimes the days of the month fall out of line with the order of these, so I have to make sure that it's the Friday before payday. It's auction day at Riedl Bank. Today is the day that you may buy your locker. So if the students want to buy their locker and purchase that so they don't have to pay rent on it anymore, then today is the day that they do that. This is the day that they purchase whatever they want to purchase. So I have expectations here for what's expected. This is shown up on the projector so that everybody can see this during auction day. It gives them instructions for what the leadership team will do. It says how you pay for the item under the certain account on Riedl Bank. You need to make sure that you pay the auction payment and you don't accidentally pay a fine account or something like that. Your banker will check to see that you paid for it, and then they will update their auction record form and give you the item at the end. I showed that to you earlier. And auction day is a whole lot of fun. I am usually the one who leads auction day because I just want to get control over that, but not all teachers do that. Some teachers let the students lead the auction, which is totally fine if they are responsible enough to do that, but I kind of like my auctioneer voice. Like, I kind of think it's fun. I kind of get into the mood of it, and I get the excitement going.
We're on camera, guys. We're on camera.
We'll start the bidding at $20, $25, $30, $35, $40, $45, $50, $75, $100, $125, $150, $175, $200, $225, $250, going once, twice, so!
I got these on My Classroom Economy. See, it says right here, My Classroom Economy. Printed these off, free resource, and I had the kids write their name on it and just tape it to a stick, and then they have these paddles, bidding paddles, I think that's what you call them. And so they all put their paddles up in the air, and I go up in increments until there's fewer and fewer paddles remaining, until there's like 2 or 3 paddles left. And then I go in shorter increments, and then there's only 1 paddle left, so I say, you know, going once, twice, sold! I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. The kids look forward to that every month, and it's a fun way to see how they use their money differently, and we could talk about that too, about how some students are really anticipating the bigger prizes later on in the year, and they want to save their money, but other students just want to get in on the fun of bidding and buying items, and so it's pretty interesting to see how some save their money, some purchase their locker so that they can, you know, earn more money in the long run. So there's all these different strategies that kids like to use in order to learn how to use their money, and that's what it's all about, is, you know, learning strategy. And we talk about that, how some students, you know, spend it all right away, and if they don't have any money left, then, and they have to pay a fine, then I might make them come in during recess and have them do a book review or something in order to have to pay that debt. Of course, some students just do book reviews for fun because they love books and they want to earn money at the same time. So that auction is a blast. It's a lot of fun. And the other thing about auctions is I don't tell the parents and I don't tell the kids to go out and buy nice items, and I don't go out and buy items for the auction. I just encourage them to bring in any like old stuff or old toys or games or stuff that they have around the house that they don't use anymore, because what's that expression? One person's junk is another person's treasure. And that's so true. Like, I had one student bring in an old little mini cute little pool table, like a little kid's mini pool table, and that he had used a lot for many years when he was a kid, and that went for a big prize item. And it's amazing too, like how much the prices go. Like, I had an extra bag of Skittles or something that I didn't want to eat, that was unopened, and I just auctioned it off thinking that somebody would buy it for $100, and I think it went for over $1,000, just one bag of Skittles. It's just so funny how obviously it doesn't translate to real money because it's pretend, but you know, just the idea of having money and spending it or saving it, or spending the money on other things like taxes or like rent, or stuff like that. You know, that's real life experience that kids usually don't learn in the classroom. And that's really where my heart is about classroom economy, is the fact that this real world experience is so beneficial. And they can make mistakes now that they don't have to make later, that they can learn from in the classroom. Oops, I blew all my money in the classroom. Hopefully they will remember that when they get their own job and learn how to save their money and not blow it in real life, you know. So overall, I absolutely love classroom economy. I love doing classroom jobs and all the ins and outs of, you know, what goes with that. And the kids really love it, and I love it. It's huge for classroom management, and it's fun. And side note is, especially with my kids, like a lot of my kids, like I can really start to see those who really blossom when it comes to thinking about money and economy and starting businesses. I've seen other teachers, what they do is they have their kids start their own business. I've seen other teachers, what they do is they allow their students to sell their own items, and then when they sell them to the other students, then the other students, they pay the seller of the item so that they can earn more money that way. So they learn how to start their own business. I've seen it really advanced with some classes, they get into the tax stuff. They get into higher level math and stuff that is even more applicable to different levels of learning and stuff like that. I've also seen teachers who do it at a much lower level for younger grades. And they just, adjust it, and they differentiate based on where the kid is at and, what they're able to understand and do from a mathematics perspective. So if you are a teacher who's interested in doing classroom economy, I would highly encourage you to do it. This is probably one of my most favorite things that I do in 5th grade is my classroom economy. And I just can't imagine running a classroom without it, because it's so helpful with classroom management, and the kids get into it, and I can apply it to math. And I think this last month, when I had the students doing Payday, I kind of just sat back and I just watched them all. Like, I just sat here at my desk, and I was waiting, with questions if they had any, but I just had the bankers were talking to their clients, and another banker was talking to their clients, and I had a group of students up here working together on filling out their bonus money form, and they were doing calculations, and it just worked like a machine. Like, seeing them all working together and collaborating and doing what they were supposed to do, it was just a thing of beauty. And I feel like every year that I do this, it's only going to get better and better. And it just gets me so excited, and I just love being able to teach the 5th graders about money and about economy and learning how to be wise with your money and stuff like that. So it's just so applicable, All right, I am rambling, but I'm sure you can understand what a joy this is. So if you're a teacher and you want to try this out in your classroom, I encourage you to try. You don't have to do digital money. You don't have to do online banking like I do. In fact, on myclassroomeconomy.org, they actually have paper money that you can print out that's already made for you. You can just use their free resources. It's such an awesome thing that hopefully more teachers will take advantage of. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know if you have questions. Join the Facebook group, and I'll put that link in the description box below, and be able to share and bounce ideas back and forth with each other. And so I know this was a very brief overview on what I do. I know I skipped over a lot, but that was the main gist of it. So I hope you got something from it. And yeah, let me know if you have questions, and I'd be happy to respond. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.